Hello, everybody, and welcome to the UA podcast. We are the Universus Academy, and this is our continuing series, this Symbols of Peace series, where we each week we talk about a different symbol in the My Hero Academia card game. This week we are talking about the Chaos symbol. I'm your host, John Jennings, and with me, as always, is my co-host Ryan Kraft. Ryan, how are you?
I'm good. How's it going, John?
It's going pretty good, man. Just recovering from this Thanksgiving week,
Lots of
trying to get
turkey.
the lots of turkey. Well, an amount. Turkey's not my favorite meat. It's
What about ham? You get some ham?
not a big ham person either. More of a sides Thanksgiving person.
Okay. So you just
Yeah.
skip the meat. You go straight for the macaroni and the stuffing.
Yeah, the macaroni stuffing, dressing, sweet potatoes, that kind of stuff. I'll
Nice.
eat turkey. It's got to have some gravy on it though. It's
Oh yeah.
it takes some work to make turkey good.
You got to make it not be dry. So that's the
Yeah.
trick.
Yeah, that's the trick. Um but yeah, so that's we had that going on. Before we really get into the episode, usually we talk about current events and stuff like that. There really is nothing this week. There's no Joffus. Everyone I think kind of took the week off. Um, no real tournaments or anything. I guess the closest thing we have to current events for us is we found out our local store will be getting the tournament packs at some point, so that's pretty cool.
Finally on the list, son.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
got to
that's good.
prove.
I mean, we got
Yeah,
we got these new players who are asking about how to get like plus ultras and some of these characters and stuff. So it's good to be able to say, "Hey, yeah, we got them coming in. We don't know a date still, but
yeah,
we are approved to get them and they are coming in. So that's good."
yeah. I mean, it's much like everything now. It's we don't know a date, and that's not just limited to My Hero. Unless you're like fucking Wizards of the Coast or some supported game, it's gonna
Yeah.
kind of be as is. Because still no date on the DLC. It's out there somewhere. We'll get it at some point. Um, but yeah, that's. I really don't think there's anything new. The rules book came out a few weeks ago. Um, other than that, really nothing.
Yep,
Uh,
really not much happening right now. We're in this little bit of a lull before the DLC comes.
hmm.
And once that hits, I think we'll have some stuff to talk about. But until then, we're kind of just in a playing a waiting game right now.
Yeah, yeah. But we will always keep you updated as we find out things. Whether it's through the podcast or if you follow us on Facebook or something like that. Usually, whenever we find out information, we post it there as well. But I guess since there's really nothing else to talk about, let's get right into the symbol this week. We are talking about the chaos symbol. Um, and I'm trying to think what are in old UFS, what were kind of the staples of what chaos did? I feel like it was kind of like control check manipulations at some point, maybe
Momentum,
some momentum shenanigans. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Um.
big momentum symbol.
Yeah.
And I think just by extension, it like tried to hit you with powerful attacks and stuff just because it had all the
Hmm.
momentum. I don't
Yeah.
think it did a ton with multiple or anything. I mean, maybe a little bit with multiple, but I don't really think that was part of its identity at all.
Yeah. I think that's just kind of a like you said, with it had momentum and multiple required momentum to trigger, so
We
we
should
kind
have
of did
brought
some
a
stuff like
guest
that.
on that specialized in old chaos because it's been so long since we played. I have no clue what it used to do.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's mostly kind of momentum shenanigans. It's kind of like a hybrid of air and evil, a little bit maybe, where air does a lot of momentum stuff and evil did control check stuff. It was maybe a little bit in between that.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's a continuing trend that there's a lot of characters that have air and chaos on them. Like they appear together more than probably almost any other symbol appear together. So I guess that makes sense.
yeah. And speaking of characters, we actually don't have a whole lot to talk about this week. We've got four from the core set, one from the DLC, and then one from the Plus Ultra packs. So from the core set itself, we've got Kaminari, Tokiyami, Uraraka, and Todorooki. Then we've got from the Plus Ultra packs, we've got Ashito, and then the DLC, we've got the second version of Uraraka. And it may just be because it's such a small category of characters, but I actually think they're all really strong. Um, and
Yep.
interestingly enough, go ahead.
Or go ahead, finish your thought. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say from the core set, we've actually got three seven-hand size characters and then one six-hand size character. So you've actually got a lot of not. I mean, I guess it's not card draw in the sense of drawing cards throughout the game, but just of having large hand size characters. That's something I gravitate towards usually, and I know you do as well.
Yeah.
Um, I just kind of thought that was interesting. I'd never really paid attention to it until I pulled it up on UVS Ultra.
Yeah, I was gonna say, since there's so few, I mean, I guess we can just run these down from the top and
Hmm.
run through them. But yeah, I mean, a bunch of seven handers, a bunch of aggro characters, really. Well,
Hmm.
I won't say they're all aggro characters, but I'd say like half of them are 3 out of 6.
Hmm.
Uraraka's like, I guess she's more mid rangey, the base set one.
Hmm.
She's one to like play very annoying attacks over and over as much as possible.
Yeah,
And then I
just
guess
looping them.
Todorooki's your real like control character, but he's got a big damage pump on him, and he also has like a very control ability. So that's just highlighting his quirks, I guess, or his
Hmm.
quirk.
That
Um,
big damage energy.
yeah. And then we got Mina, who
Is
she's not an aggro character, she's not a mid range character, she's not a control character. I don't know what she is. She's just
I
the slot machine.
yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of fitting that her first symbol is chaos because it's just fucking random, man.
Yeah, which I love. I'm all about that
Yeah,
character.
yeah.
But yeah, I
Uh,
guess we'll talk about him from the top if you want.
yeah, let's go. So first up, we got Kaminari. I really like Kaminari. He's 720. He's got a free enhance, which is always cool, and it you get to stun or not even stun. You get to just commit your opponent's foundations, and it's targeted, so you get to pick. And it's if they block your attack, so it's either damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right.
Uh, and then he's also got an incredible once per game ability. He is kind of like the go in all in one turn. I'm just going to try to kill you right now kind of character. Um, I think he really epitomizes that. Obviously, with the once per turn to just clear your card pool and put everything into your momentum. More importantly, it doesn't have to be all attacks. It's just whatever's in your momentum or whatever's in your card pool. So
Mm-hmm.
you can like play two or three foundations from your hand, then play an attack, and if it deals damage, which you can play like Electric Jolt, so it will guarantee to do damage, and then put all four cards into your momentum, and then play like a Blitz Rush or something like that.
Yeah, a giant's a giant blitz rush or a giant. Well, I guess off chaos. A giant's blitz rush might be your best bet.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. What other big chaos powerful things you got? Is there anything or EX?
Uh, a home run comment, but
Yeah,
that's kind of counterintuitive if you've cleared your card pool.
yeah. May as
Um,
well just play blitz rush at that point. I guess it plays on a 4 instead of a 6, which is nice.
yeah, I mean you can always Blitz Rush, then like home run comment or something,
Yeah, true, true.
and
I
give it
think
like powerful 3 or something.
the thing that I appreciate
Um,
about blitz rush is that it doesn't actually use your momentum, which is nice.
yes, yes. The fact that it's
Uh,
just the enhance for +2.
guess you got Ice Storm, powerful 3,
Oh
although
yeah, I was about to say Ice Storm. How could we forget the greatest card ever created?
classic, great card. I appreciate it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think Kaminari he's kind of a one trick pony,
Hmm.
but it's a really good trick.
The thing about Kaminari is he gives chaos and air. I mean, I guess all these symbols. He gives them some very cool tricks to use with all
Hmm.
his momentum stuff. He's kind
Yeah.
of the foundation for that symbol right now, in my
Hmm.
opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. His support stuff, and which we'll get into obviously later, but his support stuff is all really good. Like his foundations are all really playable. His attacks are all really good. He's just a really solid character. I can remember when he was first got spoiled, we saw his abilities, and just like, God damn.
Yeah,
Moving on down the line, we got Tokiyami, which we've talked about a couple times. I still think he's probably the best character out of all of these, just given the current state of things. Um, he's he does what he does, man, and what he does is
hmm
kill you.
yeah. Is he the best character out of the? Yeah, I mean, I think. Yeah, you're probably right. Either him, or I think any of like him, Dinky, or Uraraka are probably pretty good, but yeah, I think
Hmm.
Tokiyami's probably the best of those.
Yeah, I think they're all good. I think he's probably just the best, especially in terms of like chaos. Uh,
Yeah.
he's a little easier. He's probably a little more consistent than the others.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's he's just really good. He's got the damage reduction, which the other characters don't. So he can, so
Right.
even though he's only got 20 health, he can survive a little bit. He's got that working for him.
He also works
Um,
really well with all of Uraraka's stuff that wants to go to your momentum face up.
mhm.
So he can get the stuff into your discard pile so you can go find it with Dinky's stuff. So he's probably
Mm-hmm.
the most efficient at getting cards in your discard pile to actually pull things back, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. And that also works really well with all of Todorooki's cards too, because a lot of his cards want to have your cards in the discard pile to trigger off of that. So
That's true.
he just takes like all the best stuff from all the other characters in Chaos and just kind of throws it on himself
Just
and
brings it all
uses it.
together.
Yeah. Well, the other people do it well, and they like take spots here or there. He just does it better and more. Really, it's just more efficiently than all the others, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, I like the bird. You don't have to sell me on the bird.
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. I've we've been a big fan of him for a long time. Um, I did see someone. I think it was Shane. Maybe made a post in one of the Facebook things where someone made I guess a legacy or like a
Standard.
regular, a standard, yeah, a standard deck with Tokiyami, and it was just they like played a turn. It was just like 15 cards in the card pool.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I can imagine him doing really stupid things in like a bigger
Uh,
format.
yeah, because it was like two regular attacks, then like then summon Dark Shadow, then Dark Shadow Ruin, and then like 10 other cards, a couple of
Yep,
multiples in there.
yep. Yeah, I saw the end of that where it was like yeah, and a multiple attack at the end, like multiple
Yeah,
3 or something. Yeah, I
just
mean, you add those stats up, man, it starts getting live.
yeah. I think it had like at least two summon Dark Shadows, if not three, in there.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I think like the more, I mean, like I just said, the more cards you see, the better this guy gets.
mm-hmm,
I mean, especially if they start printing attacks that give uh, a static stat boost to all your other attacks that you can start your turn with.
mm-hmm.
Anything like that will just kind of push him over the top, I think.
Oh yeah. So hopefully they don't let him get too buck wild.
I'm fine with it. Get buck wild,
Yeah.
dude.
That's very true. And I guess the thing about Tokiyami is, if you're like in the, I guess in the Eraserhead matchup, so Kaminari, the Eraserhead matchup probably isn't great, just because you're likely getting blanked on everything, so you're still committing a lot of stuff with Kaminari, just because of
Yeah,
his attacks, the charge and stuns. But with Tokiyami, and we've played it some, Tokiyami, the Eraserhead matchup isn't like that big of a deal. Like getting blanked kind of sucks, but whatever.
yeah. I mean, you
He's
can
got so little
still.
health.
Yeah, but I was gonna say you can still pull back actions on your opponent's turn. Like they don't. There's no way that they can feasibly keep you off of pulling actions back for free.
Hmm.
So I mean, I think what they end up doing is just not doing that. They just don't erase you, and they just
Hmm.
save their erases to block. So
Yeah.
the biggest thing you got to do is get through all their -2 speeds and breaker one blocks, which he can do because he just adds a bunch of speed
Hmm.
and plays a bunch of cards. So he can theoretically just fight through that.
Yeah. And I mean, it's really with Tokiyami, it's two hits and Eraser's dead. So
Yeah, once you get, especially if you start throwing Dark Shadow Ruins for 11 damage over and over.
yeah. Well, I mean, the first one does like 10.
Yeah, yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Uraraka. I haven't actually played as Uraraka, and she's one of those characters that I think we both kind of had her in the B tier. I think we would both easily put her in the A tier at this point. I know you've played as her some. I she does a lot of like looping kind of stuff is what she wants to do, especially with like meteor shower or something like that.
Yeah,
Um, I I think I think she's really good. Um, I don't know, what
yeah.
were your thoughts after playing her?
I think she's awesome. She's really fun to play. I mean, you can get away with just like you can get away with playing sometimes you can get away with playing just like one attack every turn or two attacks. You know, you play like 1.3 million volts over and over, or if you find them in a position where like it's not advantageous for them to block anyways, you just keep poking them, like throwing the thing in your momentum, and then continuing about your life. You don't necessarily always need to use the speed boost to pull your attack back on your own turn. You can actually do that on your opponent's turn if you need to. So it's nice to be able to pull a block back if you want, or if they're erasing you on your turn. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to want to erase you on their whole turn as well to keep you from pulling an attack back. So she's a little versatile when it comes to working around those things, which I like. But just playing the deck is really fun as well.
Very cool. Um, all right, Todorooki, who I think we would agree is the worst of the Chaos Core characters.
Yeah,
Um, I do think he's not as bad as we initially thought, because I think we were all pretty low on him to begin with.
yeah,
Um, I think the problem is kind of what we touched on earlier. Is a lot of his stuff is just better in other characters because they can take advantage of his support better than he.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. I think he will probably get a little better, maybe with like Mighty Punch or something like that. Just more ways to get cards into his discard pile to activate his damage pump.
Hmm.
That or you just build a deck that completely ignores the fact that he has a damage pump for the most part, and you're just using him for his negate on a stick.
Yeah, which is really
I
good.
Yeah, I mean, if you can negate their one meaningful enhance repeatedly, I mean, I think that's pretty good.
Hmm. Um, I do kind of don't understand why his enhance isn't playable while committed. Uh, Given that his response commits him, it kind of
I
seems
think
like maybe
it's a theme thing
a
because like
theme.
he doesn't use both his quirks at the same time. You gotta like pick one.
Pick one or the other. Okay,
Yeah,
I guess I can see that.
maybe in a later set they'll be like, okay, now you get that set one character, but you can do both abilities now.
This is yeah, that'd be the most disappointing second edition of a character ever.
Yeah, for real, dude.
Please
Maybe
don't do that.
it's a stat character that says you can play all versions of this character, uh, any number of times per turn. There you go.
There you go.
Play them on
It's a
committed.
better version of True Form All Might.
Yeah.
um, yeah, you made the water Todorooki deck, which
hmm
was just kind of defend. It was like what an 80 card deck, right?
I
Or
did.
something. It was a big deck.
I made like an 80 card fire deck, I think, but then I made like a regular sized water deck.
Was it okay? I couldn't quite remember.
Yeah.
Um, and
I
I think maybe. Or go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't know, like maybe right now it's just hard to play the pure defensive game.
Hmm.
Because like you can play defense and then try and damage pump a bunch of damage onto something and try and kill them later, but I don't know how reliable it is. Maybe if there's just a guaranteed way to get damage through later, it could end up being a better strategy. But
Hmm.
I haven't honestly put enough effort into it to say if it's good enough or not currently.
Yeah, because I think the idea was basically playing like throws, right? Play a bunch of throws so they're auto guaranteed to do damage, and you just make them really big with his ability.
Yeah, because he could play the ranged throw that Saru has off water.
And you can play the one that Mineta has,
Yeah, and
and
then
then
you
you can
just
play
pump
Tape
damage on him.
Swing, which is essentially a throw.
Yeah, the two check.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You just make those really big and play like Frigid Heat Wave or something. Ice
yeah,
Storm.
yeah. That was the. I think that was the idea. If I went and pulled that deck back up, it was like throws plus his damage pump and just play defense.
Hmm. Yeah. But
Better in theory than in practice, but you know.
that, yeah, and that was off water, which is not what we're talking about here. Um, but yeah, in the terms of chaos, I think he is fourth out of the four characters in the core set.
Yeah.
Uh, Moving on to the plus ultra pack character, we have Mina Ashito, another seven hand size character. So chaos holding it strong with the large hand size characters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she has a really fun ability. Like you said, you made a deck with her where it's man, you just play in that slot machine. You just pull the lever and see what happens.
Yeah.
Just
I think she's gonna be a fun character. I mean, giving plus one speed to everything is not a nothing ability. I mean, it really
no.
adds up. And the once per turn ability, if they ever get anything in these symbols that lets you stack the top of your deck in any way, or just put cards from your hand on top of your deck, then I think it will push her a little closer to a tournament viable character. But right now,
Hmm.
she's just kind of. If you could play her in a tournament and give one plus one speed to everything, and then hope you get lucky off her ability. But right now you're hoping. You have no one to
Hmm.
set it up.
Yeah, I mean, you're like on an attack turn or something. You're hoping you check like a pillar swing or something like that, right? So then you just play it for free.
Yeah, play a pillar swing. Play anything that's big difficulty. Play blitz rush or something. I guess.
Yeah.
Just play something that feels good to play for free.
Hmm. And like you said, her speed enhance is free, and it gains you one life. If it deals damage, which is, I mean, it's free, right? That's not the
Right.
best enhance ever, but it's free.
And
It's not
it's
as
oh yeah, so it does not work on defense though, unfortunately.
no, it's it's your attack, or well, if it deals damage, gain one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but speaking of free enhances, there's a much better one on the next character, which is the DLC version of Uraraka, which is a 533. Um, and she got some cool abilities on her. I'm pretty excited for this character. The once per turn after your non-throw attack deals damage, add it to your hand. Your next check to play an attack gets +2. That's awesome. It's not a commit ability either; it just happens. She's got a free enhance for this tech. It's +2 speed, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And she's also got a good defensive ability, which you commit her for an attack to get -3 speed. Um, so she has Specialist of Sound printed on her.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I guess that's a response, but this is an enhance, so it could be negated or something. But it's really good.
Yeah. I mean, so she does pretty much what the base set version does, except she cuts out the step of having to put it to your momentum first.
Hmm.
So I mean, you do that with the trade off of having to deal damage, but she enables that by just giving +2 speed to everything. So
Hmm.
she can theoretically just punch through her attacks that she wants to hit you with. Um, this is another character that Eraser probably makes you feel bad because he negates your speed enhance, and then if he can't block, he's just gonna erase you. So
Yep.
it's not awesome. It is not awesome.
It is not awesome. Everything is
But
not awesome.
against every other character, I think she'd be fun to play. I mean, having the -3 speed on a stick, you can do everything you want to do on offense without giving anything up on defense. So that's
Hmm.
very nice. I like that.
Yeah. And Chaos has a couple of cards that are guaranteed to do damage, so you can always trigger that ability if you want to. Um,
Yeah,
so that's really good.
because her
I
does it her DLC attack guarantees damage and electric jolts. Are those the two?
well, there's a throw.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. Okay,
pillar swing. No, pillar swing. If it's blocked, it goes to your momentum. I think,
okay.
or a float combo. Is float combo the DLC one?
Or no, is float combo the plus ultra one? I don't know. I always get them confused. I think
I
float
think I
combo
think
is in the DLC.
I think float combo is the DLC. Yeah, float combo is the one that still deals damage if it's blocked.
Yeah, so
So
she's
there's
gonna
three
get
cards.
yeah, so she'll get an enabler for her ability to make it
Hmm.
work, which is good.
Yep. Um. Well, that's all the characters we're going to talk about in Chaos. We're going to take a little break and we'll come back and talk about some attacks and foundations. All right, everybody, welcome back to the UA Universes Academy Symbols of Peace podcast series. Before we get back into it, do want to shout out our friends over at the Very Random Encounters podcast. If you've never been over there, their website is vre.show. They're also on Twitter. If you're not familiar, it's a podcast where each week, Wheels, Logan, Lee, and Greg they take a different RPG system, a tabletop RPG system, and they try to randomize as many things as possible about every campaign they do. And each story is a different RPG system. So if you go to their website, you can go to the listening guide and kind of look at the different systems they've done. And if you want more information on it, they got a little game systems guide. You can click on that. It'll send you to their website and you can look at it. They've also got a book that they've written, which is really awesome. So if you're looking to spice up your own campaigns, I'd check out their book. It's under $20. It's available at most major bookstores and Amazon. But obviously, if you got a local bookstore that carries it, support your local bookstores. It's a really awesome listen. There's a lot of fun. They come up with a lot of good stuff on the spot. I know Ryan's checked out several of their campaigns, and it's a lot of fun. You know, if you got a long commute or just looking for something interesting to listen to, check out the VRE show, the Very Random Encounters podcast.
And I'll put a link to their iTunes, Discord, Twitter, all that in the description if you want to find them and check them out.
Mm-hmm. All right. Getting back to it. Getting back to some chaos. Speaking of very random things in chaos, right? We're gonna talk about some attacks, some chaos attacks. Looking at the attacks, we've talked about it before. I think we're obligated to say that Ice Storm is the best chaos attack, right?
Is that true? Let's
Because
see. I think it's if it's the best attack ever, it has to be the best chaos attack. So I
it
guess it
has to be
adds
the
up.
best chaos attack.
I think it adds up.
I think, yeah. Um, I do think there are some really good attacks, really fun attacks going on here. I think Chaos might have the most fun attacks out of any lineup. Um,
Yeah,
because it somehow has like all the keywords you'd ever want to play. Like you've got some breaker, you've got a lot of stun, you got powerful,
You got
It's
EX.
just you got EX. It's just you got big numbers.
Yeah, it does it all, man. Like you throw giant attacks that stun your opponent and make them unhappy, make you happy.
Yeah.
I mean, what's
Uh,
not to like?
yeah. I mean, we've also got Matt's favorite attack ever, indiscriminate shock, 1.3 million volts.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That attack is awesome. Like I think this attack is awesome in Uraraka.
mhm,
Because as it turns out, just throwing a low attack that stuns two things essentially, and does a bunch of damage on every single turn is the thing that's annoying to deal with.
mhm. Yeah, I think it actually might be my favorite. In all seriousness, my favorite chaos attack. Just for those things you pointed out, it's got a huge damage pump just built into it for free.
Yeah,
The +1 damage for each committed foundation. Like if you go second or something, and your opponent has like a kind of a wonky or a bad turn two, where they try to like play an attack or two, and they have to commit more than they want to, and you lead with indiscriminate shock, they're gonna have a bad time, right?
right. It's the ultimate
Um,
backswing attack, right? Especially
yeah.
if you can force them to commit some things in their turn with, like you were saying, like something like Ice Storm, like breaker to them, make them
Hmm.
commit a couple things that they necessarily wouldn't commit before, and then you just like bust this guy out, and it's like a 9 or 10 damage attack on 5 difficulty with really no setup to it. Um, and then you do your turn as normal.
Yeah. It's also got a low block, which a playable low block, more importantly,
Yeah,
which is really crucial because there are kind of a shortage of good low blocks in this set. So having that there is really important. Um, it's got charged and stun, so obviously it fits with if you're playing Kaminari, it fits with his ability to just commit something for free if they block it.
right.
Uh, and also I guess the second part, I thought it was targeted committal, but it's not. But they just commit one foundation. But
Yeah.
it's not bad still.
Yeah, it's a
Stun
one
and
for one
then
thing. The thing is,
yeah.
like when you're playing this card, you have things that you don't care if you commit it, and you're making them commit things. And who knows
Yes.
if they're committing things they want to commit or not? But you're playing things, probably if you built your deck good, that you don't
Hmm.
care if it's committed, or you're gonna blow it up with another ability, so it doesn't matter, or something that's already face down. Like
Yeah.
there's a bunch of options there.
Yeah. It's really good. Um let's see. Electric Jolt, I think, is another really awesome card.
Mm-hmm.
It's at first glance you look at the stats and you're like, four for a 3 mid that does 4 damage. That's not great. Um, but the enhance that if it's completely blocked, it still deals 1 damage is awesome. And I know you're thinking, only 1 damage. What does that matter? Well, it can matter a lot because as we talked about previously, any attack that or any ability that requires you to have dealt damage, this always gets through.
Yeah.
Um, so if
Dinky
you're going in,
built
yeah,
in.
if you're going in on a Kaminari kill turn or something, and you got to trigger that ability, it's not super hard to play after you've already played 2 or 3 cards, and it's guaranteed to trigger his ability. Um, Also, the ability that you use from his momentum is awesome too. The that one is targeted committal,
Yeah.
which is awesome. So if your opponent's playing like resistance or something, you play this down. You're like, I'm just gonna go ahead and tap resistance, so you can't negate my stuns.
Yeah, or playing something that just like seals your other foundations you don't want them to seal,
Hmm.
or just any. I mean, targeted committal on anything that you don't want to deal with is awesome, and
Hmm.
it has no cost to it. You just flip it in your momentum. You still have the momentum. You don't have to discard it or anything, and you get to commit one of the things. It's pretty nice.
Yeah. Um, I know we touched briefly on Blitz Rush, but I fucking love that card, man. As you pointed out, that it's like it's like powerful but better. It's like the card has like built-in powerful too, but it's better because you don't actually discard the momentum.
Yeah, I like Blitz Rush. I don't know how much I like Blitz Rush. I don't like that it's a 6 difficulty, but I like pretty
Yeah.
much everything else about the card. I wish it was like a 5 difficulty, 4 high for like 5 or something. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
but at 6 difficulty, it gets a little harder to play. The payoff is really good though. The only problem I have with it, I guess, the major thing is that it's only 4 speed.
mhm.
So that's why it's got stun on it, and if you play it in someone like Mina, actually, I mean it has 5 speed base then. But
Mhm.
outside of that, probably good in Uraraka because it's a charge attack and a high attack. Both
Mhm.
versions of Uraraka. Um, but yeah, I mean, I like the card. I don't love the card, but I do like it because it's a giant, just banger attack, and it has a good block on it.
Mhm. Um, Electric Surge is a fine card. I feel like it's the weakest of the Kaminari cards. Um, the momentum ability, I should say, is really good.
Yeah.
Getting free momentum is always fun. Kind of a bland attack for mid for 4.
Yeah, if it
Uh,
wasn't a mid attack, I would like it a lot more.
yeah.
That way it could stand on its own without having to like worry about the abilities it has. Because
Mhm.
if I discard a momentum to this to make it do 7 damage as a 4 mid, it's gonna get blocked. You know?
Yeah. It feels bad.
Yeah. If it was like a low attack or something, that'd be awesome. But I
Mhm.
get it. I mean, every attack can't be awesome. Some attacks have to be a little more mediocre, especially for a limited format. So I get it. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. We've got the Tokiyami attacks. Obviously, we got Dark Shadow Ruin. Um, yeah, it's a banger.
Yeah.
I don't know what more to say about it.
Yes. I mean, 10 damage out the box. In Tokiyami. I don't. I mean, I think this is an attack you could play in other characters.
Mhm.
I don't know if you're playing it in other characters right now, but you certainly could. I think there's just better options to play in most of the characters right now, though.
Yeah, I think if obviously for Tokiyami you're playing this, but if you're not Tokiyami and you're making a chaos deck, I think honestly maybe you're looking at something like a Blitz Rush or a Home Run Comet or something instead of Dark
Yeah.
Shadow Ruin. And his other cards like the ally keywords, none of the other chaos characters really trigger off the ally stuff or really want to use his ally stuff. I think.
And I think it's pretty hard for Chaos to actually get the second enhance online on this because I don't
Hmm.
think it has a lot of damage pumps. It has a lot of speed pumps, but I don't think it has a lot of damage.
No, and there's also one action I guess we should say, but you're probably not running Dark Shadow Ruin in any of the other chaos characters.
Yeah, unless you've come up with something sweet that we haven't thought of yet.
Yeah. Which either tell us or show up at your local scene or local tournament and just blow somebody's mind with it. That'd be cool.
Yeah, man.
Um,
The only other decks I've put Summon Dark Shadow in are decks where I was proxying plus Ultra so far.
so you weren't actually playing Dark Shadow Ruin
Yeah,
or
yeah,
or Summon Dark Shadow rather.
it was a stand-in.
Yeah. Uh, so the Uraraka attacks. We've got Home Run Comet, which is it's an awesome finisher. It fits in a lot of decks. I feel like it's guaranteed powerful too, just off of itself, right? Because it counts
Hmm.
itself. And I've seen that question asked a good bit on the forums. It does count itself when you're looking for its increasing the powerful ability.
Yep,
Um,
because it doesn't say each other charge or high attack,
yeah.
so it does count itself.
Another great thing about Home Run Comment is the adding one foundation to your momentum, right? So as we were
Right.
talking about with Indiscriminate Shock, where it's got the commit one foundation, this is a perfect target where you're like, I'll just commit whatever, and then I'm going to use it for something else with Home Run Comment, right? So you just take that committed foundation, throw it to your momentum. Powerful's even bigger now.
Yeah, I like
Um,
Home Run Comet a lot. I think it's going to kill a lot of people. I think I've been saying that
mhm.
since we did the earliest reviews of cards. It's going to be a murdering machine.
Yeah. Meteor Shower. I feel like a lot of people are really high on Meteor Shower. I think it's a good card. I don't know that I like it as much as everybody else does. Um, and that may just be because I haven't played with it. I probably need to play with it some, then I'll kind of see what everyone's talking about. But it is, I mean, being able to loop a card back to your hand is always going to be powerful and strong. It's a 4 difficulty attack that does 5 damage, which is kind of unique. You don't see that
Hmm.
a lot. And it's a high attack, so obviously it fits with Uraraka's theme and Home Run Comet.
Yeah, I think I've seen some like Chaos Tokiyami with Meteor Shower in it. And
Mm.
if you could just play a bunch of them with a bunch of Summon Dark Shadows out, it seems pretty solid, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't played with Meteor Shower a lot just because I do not particularly like the card. But I also understand it's a strong card.
Hmm.
Um, and it's a good card. It's not my cup of tea
Yeah.
if I put it in a simple way. But yeah,
Yeah. No, I get.
it's statted very well and it lets you just play a bunch of copies of it. So that's nice.
Hmm. We got Zero Gravity Capture, which is a card that I like a good bit. So in old UFS, there was an old Kami attack that was like a 1 difficulty attack that was like a 1 mid for 2 or something, basically. But I played it in a deck where you just discarded your opponent's hand and pumped your attacks. And so it was
Hmm.
like a great finisher. And this kind of reminded me of that with like Kaminari, where after you've played like 2 or 3 attacks, cleared your card pool, played another 2 or 3 attacks. And then if your opponent only has like 2 or 3 health left and they've got no cards in hand, you're like, well, here's this 3 difficulty attack. And I don't care that it's 0 speed because you can't block it.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I don't have anything to add about this card. It's just like a nice little poke.
yeah, it's probably not going to make it in a lot of decks, but it's interesting to think about.
Yeah.
Zero gravity lift is a really solid card. 6 damage throw is always good. Um, the momentum enhance, that's really strong. And since it's a throw, this is guaranteed to go to your momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so being able to clear your card pool on command is just really strong.
Yeah, for sure. And this is a good. Yeah, I mean, it's just a good generic high damage throw. I mean, it's something that, like we
Mhm.
talked about earlier, you can throw in Todorooki, and it's not a ranged throw, but it's still a throw if you want to like get some damage through.
Mhm. Um, Speaking of Todorooki, we've got Frigid Heat Wave, probably the most sought after card attack,
Yeah,
I'd say, in this set. If you got a set of Frigid Heat Waves, consider yourself lucky.
I'm lucky.
You're lucky, yeah. I've got a I've got an XR Frigid Heat Wave. I need to unload that thing for some regular ones.
Like I have an
Um,
XR Detroit Smash. You have an XR Detroit or Frigid Heat Wave. Find someone who wants both, and we'll just make a combo deal, John. We'll move
all right, cool, 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 cool. If you're listening to this and you want those, let us know. Hit us up.
them.
Um, Yeah, no, this card's fucking great, man. +2 low block. It's got good stats. I know you're thinking, oh, 5 difficulty attack for only 4 damage. What the hell? But yeah, it's really it's consistently it's gonna be at least a 6 damage attack. If you get real lucky, it's a 10 damage attack. Um, draw 2
Yeah,
cards.
I feel like so. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a 5 for 5 high doing 4, but you're not playing this attack for the damage. I mean, yeah, it's nice
No.
if you get lucky and it does 10 damage, but more often than not, it's going to be a 5 high for 6, which is totally fine. And then if you've built your deck around this card, which is what you probably should do if you're playing it in your deck, it's going to draw you 2 cards, which is awesome.
Mhm.
And also, in addition to that, the milling stuff or discarding stuff into your discard pile, just it's an enabler for a lot of decks that want to do things out of their discard pile. So cards like this are very sought after in the current format for some decks. And
Mhm.
generic card draw is just very good if you're playing any kind of aggro deck. I guess
Yeah.
any kind of deck. It doesn't have to be an
Any
aggro deck.
It doesn't have to be an aggregate. Yeah, it's just card draw is just good in any game. I don't want to play the game where card draw is bad.
Yeah, that sounds awful. I think it's called
Um,
playing against Gen Con All Might. That's when card draw is bad.
yeah, fair enough.
+7 speed
Uh,
dolls attacks when you fuck up.
ugh, sounds awful. Detroit Smash +7 speed off the bat.
Seems good.
Giant Ice Ball. This is a card I've considered making like a Chaos Kaminari deck. I'm putting this in there. I mean, it's got stun 2, breaker 1. It's a low attack with a high block. You can use momentum to give something else stun 2. It's just great.
Yeah, anything where you can guarantee you're gonna have momentum. I mean, it's essentially just a stun 4 low attack at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, you got to be playing the ranged package, but the ranged package is good. It's worth playing, so there's no
Mm-hmm.
reason to not play it if you're on those symbols. Yeah, I like this card a lot. I like the actual art on it.
Mm-hmm.
And not the wrong
Not
art.
the misprint.
Yeah, not the. I have the misprint here. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the actual art that I have on my screen looks a lot better.
Yep. And we've talked about Ice Storm, how it's the greatest attack that's ever been made in UFS history. Not much else to really say about it. It's if you don't like it, you're wrong. You're bad at the game. Nah.
The best attack ever is you can get it right now for $2 on TCG Player.
Yes.
Best attack ever.
Best attack ever. Um, yeah, I don't know. Ice Storm's just a really solid all around attack, right?
Yeah, I like it.
4 break, powerful 3, can't be blocked by attacks. Just
Yep.
really good.
Low attack, good block on it. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, I like it. We can move on. We've talked a lot about Ice Storm.
Massive Flash Freeze is a card that I don't think I ever really read until looking at this podcast because I've never considered playing it. It's not bad, I guess.
I I have thought about putting this attack in a lot of decks, and it never quite makes the cut.
Hmm.
It has a really good block on it. It's a 5 speed attack on 4 difficulty, and anything with like 5 speed on it is really nice. I
Hmm.
think if you're playing this in Todorooki and you got your damage pump online, I mean, a 4 difficulty attack for like 5, 6, 7 damage, or 4 difficulty, 5 speed attack for like 5, 6, 7 damage is, I mean, it's good. And
Yeah.
then it essentially ignores progressive for your next attack with its enhance, is what it boils down to. It gives your next attack +1 to its check, or your next ranged attack.
Hmm.
So I like this card. It doesn't quite make it into most of the decks I'm building.
It's just not quite good enough. I do have a question about the deadlock enhance though. So it says the next check you make to play an attack passes. Do you still have to make the check?
Yeah, because it doesn't say no control check necessary.
Okay.
I ran into the situation with one of our new players where I was like, you don't need to make a check. And he's like, oh, but it says your next check passes. And I was like, well, yeah, you're right. I think as you still check and it just passes. But in the
Yeah.
past, when those cards didn't require you to make a control check, it had that in parentheses. It would say no control check necessary.
Yeah. I think Mina actually specifically says no control check necessary, right?
I think so, yeah.
See. Yeah, she says no check necessary.
Yeah.
Um,
Which
we've got
I mean, that is an interesting thing. I guess this full, fueling his thing of wanting more cards in the discard pile still is why it lets you still check.
yeah,
But it's interesting that it doesn't say no control check necessary.
yeah. Um, we've got the two infinity attacks, Crow and Frog takedown, and then double front beatdown. Neither of which I think are really good in any of the chaos decks. Maybe you get Crow and Frog takedown, which I guess is a Tokiyami enhance. So that's always useful if you want to like ready something. Um,
Yeah, I mean, being able to like attack, use summon Dark Shadow, like, commit your character, and like ready back to be able to pull an action back on your opponent's turn
mhm,
seems like it could be okay. And it doesn't count towards progressive, yada yada, all that good stuff. But yeah, it's okay. It's all right.
mhm. Of
Yeah.
the two unreleased
Um.
attacks yet, we've got Pillar Swing, which is great. It's got all the keywords you want on it. It's got 8 damage out the box.
Mhm.
Uh, it's got a 3 check, so that's great. Don't have to worry about those low checks in your deck. +2 low block. Making sure it goes to your momentum if it's blocked, which they're gonna want to block it, right? No one wants to just take 8.
Yeah, and it goes immediately, which is good. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't wait till the end of turn.
And the damage can't be reduced below it's printed, so that's really fun too.
Yeah,
So
I feel
sorry,
like
Kirishima.
yeah, I feel like this attack just is like, hey man, you better be playing Uraraka in some form, or just don't play this attack because it's 3 speed. It's getting blocked 100% of the time. At least you can make it like 5 or 6 speed if you're playing Uraraka, depending on which version. Um, but yeah, I like this attack. I think it's a good attack.
Mm-hmm. And lastly we got Float Combo, which is another really great attack. Uh, it is a combo, but it's a high attack. So if you're playing Uraraka, I think pretty much all her attacks are high attacks except for Pillar Swing.
Yeah,
Um, so that's not that hard to pull off. You've got the combo enhance to switch the speed and damage, which is really good. It just makes it a really useful card, kind of depending on your situation. If you're just trying to get some damage through, obviously you can just pump the speed and leave it where it is. Or if you're like, well, I know they're not going to block this attack, just go ahead and switch it up and hit them for
hmm
more. Um, and as we
yeah,
said, the enhance to enable a lot of your if this tech deals damage abilities is really solid too.
yeah. The most important enhance is not a combo enhance. Do we want to take a quick break, come back and talk about foundations?
Let's do it. Hello and welcome back to our continuing series on symbols in the My Hero Academia card game. Going to wrap up our thoughts on Chaos. First, we're going to talk about some foundations in Chaos, though. I think if you're at your Chaos Foundation base, I think kind of begins with Kaminari, because a lot of his stuff is just really good, no matter who you're playing. Charged up, removing to be able to add a card from your discard pile to your momentum, and more importantly, if it's an attack that says it goes face up, if you use charged up, it goes to your momentum face up, so you can immediately use its abilities. Um, Requiring assistance, a great spam foundation. Just readying foundations for free is great. Shock treatment. If you're making a deck with these symbols and you're not playing shock treatment, you're doing it wrong. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
between shock treatment and irrefutable force of nature, it helps you just get through any answers they have on the table, and then you
mhm,
just kind of have to deal with the tricks that are in their hand.
mhm. Short circuit. I don't know that you're. It's it's a good hopefully I don't die piece,
Hmm.
right? Outside of that, I'm not sure you're probably not playing 4 of it if you're playing it.
I think it depends on how squishy the character you're playing is.
That's true.
I mean, you got to have some defense. You're not always going to kill on turn 2 or 3. So being
Mhm,
able to reset something like a Detroit Smash or a giant, like Ice Storm or something that's a non-charge
mhm.
attack, that would be
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. Um, as far as Tokiyami, I think if we're looking at his foundations, obviously you got Stronger in Darkness, which both his theme. It's also just a great spam foundation. It's useful in other characters too, just if you have to commit your character for some reason. Just a free enhance for +1 damage is always strong. Um, I think Cool Student is actually really awesome. It's really strong. Discarding 1 momentum to give your check +2. We've already talked about how Chaos just generates a lot of momentum for free. So just making your attack strings that much easier to pull off is better. And also, if you know, like, oh, I've got to be able to block this next attack, or I've got to be able to check this next attack, you can just go to your attack and you're like, well, I know if I get at least a 5, I'm good. Well, you've got at least a 5.
Yeah, yeah, I like Cool Student. I haven't put it in a ton of decks, but I think any deck that has an abundance of momentum, this is a great attack for you.
Hmm. Let's think. As far as Uraraka's foundations, Wealthy Aspirations is good. I think I'm actually most excited for her DLC foundation, First Day of Class.
Yeah,
Uh,
so I think I love Wealthy Aspirations just because it's
hmm
snap momentum. You can go get well, you can't go get anything, but it just gives you like a second momentum to do things
hmm
with. It works really well with Meteor Shower. So, I mean, it works with her kit as expected. I think it's a really good
hmm
card.
yeah. And it's got a +1 low block.
Yes, which is clutch.
Yes. But First Day of Class, um, it's obviously it only works on your first attack, right?
Hmm.
Uh, but being able to use your next check +2, and then you can immediately use its other ability to was it after this card is committed during the enhanced phase, ready it, playable while committed, and it's for a flip ability. That's just awesome.
Yeah. So, like at the start of your turn, if you need to check like a 6, you check a 5,
Mhm.
right? I guess you tap it. Uh, well, I guess you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. You want to use its enhance and then flip it. Okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
okay. Yeah,
But
I
it's
think
still good.
that's
It readies itself for the rest of your turn, so you can keep on. You've got that little buffer, right?
yeah, keep on, keep it on. And also like encouraging training partner of hers as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's another defensive piece to put attack speed back to 4, which is
Mm-hmm.
in the blockable range. It stops big ol' reciprocal bursts and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be using that commit or the response very often. Um, and also mainly just because if you do that, then you can't use the enhanced part, which is what you really want.
Yeah, I mean I guess if you know like you can't block and the one life makes a difference,
Fair
why
enough.
not? I feel like that character specific response should have just been a free response. There's no
Yeah.
reason to commit for one life, bro. Come on.
Very true. Um, of course, we got Irrefutable Force of Nature, which is one of the best control pieces in the game right now.
Hmm.
It hits a huge array of cards, including itself.
And the ones it doesn't hit, it also hits by removing itself
Yes.
from the game.
Yeah. And lastly, we'll talk about Villains Defeated, which is a card I really like, and I want to make a deck around, but I'm not sure how yet. But just being able to remove your opponent's cards, like their attacks after they play them,
Yeah.
especially if you're playing against like a Uraraka mirror match or something, and you know they want to keep looping Meteor Shower or something, you can just, well, nope, see you later.
And it's some good anti discard. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
guess that's not like it's serviceable anti discard, playable while committed.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess another foundation before we wrap up. Frozen, I think, is a really solid foundation. Just on your turn, you can destroy a foundation to make your opponent commit one. It's good
Mm-hmm.
when you know you're going in for the kill, just to get them tapped out. It combos with 1.3 million volts.
Mm-hmm.
It's good with attacks like Blitz Rush when you know you can't pump the speed, but if you just tap them out, it might not matter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I like all the things that are happening there, and also don't hate precise control because it's you can like stow a card away to pick it up and block with it with Breaker later.
Mhm. And it's, I mean, +3 mid blocks. I mean, it's got a mid block, so you can try to block anything. And +3 is not ideal, but like you said, it gives you a chance to do something, right? It can potentially save you if you're gonna die.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm. Um. Well, I guess we've reached the point of the podcast where we are going to try and see what we're gonna do next. What symbol? We're down to what, 4, right?
Uh, we need to do air.
Life,
Life. Have we done? We haven't done water.
water. I feel like there's one more we're missing, or is there?
There's definitely one more. I just don't know what it is. We can figure it
Good.
out. Yeah, we have not done good.
This is
I
4.
think we've done everything else. Yeah,
Yeah.
because this will be our eighth one. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
All
Coming in on
right,
the home stretch.
the home stretch. All right, so we're doing min max. All right, John, this is your chance to
I'll say
guess.
I'll say 3.
At this point, I mean, you got a 1 in 4, man. All right, let's see. Nope, it's 4. It stopped on 4.
4.
So
So
that's water.
it's water.
Yeah,
Water. All right, cool. I like water. It's a good symbol.
water is a good symbol. There's some fun
Mhm.
things with water. It's going to share a lot of
Mhm.
the or some of the same cards we talked about today, but that's fine.
Yep. Yeah, yeah. Um,
So, John,
well,
you got any articles coming out this week? You writing any cool stuff? Any quick hits?
we might try and crank one out. We'll see how the week goes. You never know between work and babies. It's
Yeah,
free time is at a low.
it's totally understandable.
Yep.
So this is our. I guess we're wrapping up this here in just a second, but we should have an article that coincides with the symbol coming out on Wednesday.
Mhm.
So tomorrow, I guess, for people who are actually listening to it when it comes out. So that'll be up on the Universus Academy dot, or I'm sorry, uvsacademy.wordpress.com, and we'll share it out on our Facebook page and everything. But I'll put
Mhm.
all of our social media stuff in the description of the podcast and the YouTube video. And I think that's all we really got going on right now, unless you can think of anything else.
No, I mean, you never know what might come up. And, obviously, like we said before, if there's any breaking My Hero news or something, we'll let you guys know as soon as we do.
And
Um,
we I guess we did get some new nice graphics, so something that's more HD and not obviously ripped off from the original creators. So hope you
what?
guys enjoy those. If you like those, let us know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think we're good to go, man.
All right. Well, for Ryan Kraft, I am John Jennings, and thanks for listening to the Universus Academy podcast. Hope you guys have a great week.
Have a good one.